Hey guys, this is Tommy, and this is actually my first tutorial in Cinema 4D, so please be gentle. What we're going to be creating is a beautiful procedural donut. I'm pretty sure you know, or maybe you are familiar with, the amazing Blender Guru tutorial about how to make a donut in Blender. Andrew has a new series on how to make a Blender donut, which is absolutely amazing. But he had an old donut tutorial, which I'm pretty sure was the base for many Blender artists out there. It even inspired Antagma, you know, the Houdini god, to make a new tutorial for Houdini on how to make procedural donuts. So that's what we're gonna do today. I'll try to achieve some similar results in Cinema 4D as procedurally as possible. So let's start right away. We'll start by, of course, adding a torus. I'm just gonna turn on the Goro shading line so I can see the caging. Let's just increase the pipe segments to 32. I think this is gonna be enough for now. So this is a good base for our donut. Okay, so the first thing I noticed about that classic pink sprinkled, you know, Simpsons donut is that it has a little bit of a dentation on the side. So let's just try to do that. For that I'm going to use a plane effector. Put that as a child of the torus. And for the position, let's zero out. And the first thing I'm going to do is set the deformer to polygon. For the parameter, let's use the Z and make it minus, let's say, 15. So as you can see, something happened with our donut. It became smaller because it's pushing, you know, all the polygons inside. But I don't want that. I want this to be masked on only to affect the middle. So let's just use a Fola for that. And I'm going to use a box field. Okay, so let's make sure that this box field covers the whole area of the donut. Let's just go to the box field and make this bigger. Okay, so this should be big enough, you know, just in case we want to make the donut bigger in a later stage. But let's push the Y size. Let's decrease that, so it only affects the middle of our donut. And you can see this is happening quite nicely. It's a bit too strong, so let's decrease the strength. You know, not even the strength. Let's decrease the parameter and the Z to something like minus 8. Yeah, this should be good. Okay. Remember that this is still a parametric object, so I can just, you know, decrease or increase the pipe segments anytime. But for now, let's just stick to 32. I'm going to use another deformer. Actually, I'm going to use a displacer to make the donut a bit more uneven. Let's just use a shader for that. The noise shader, but it's too small, so let's set the global scale to something like 450. I think this should be good, but again, this effect is a bit strong, so let's decrease the strength. Yeah, this should be good. This looks like a donut. Well, a base of a donut at least. Okay, so the next thing will be the hardest. The icing. We can do this many ways, but I want to keep things as procedural as possible. So what we're going to use now is a matrix object. So let's use a MoGraph matrix. And matrix is using these little cubes. So by default it's set to grid array, but let's just change that to object. And for the object, I want this to be the torus. So it's cloning those little cubes on the surface of the torus. We can use vertex, we can use edge, But let's just use surface, because in that way we can determine how much boxes we want, how many boxes we want. So let's just say maybe 4,000. This will cover nicely the whole donut, which we don't want. We want the icing to be just on the top. Let's bump this up to 5,000. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna make a mask to matrices to only appear on the top of the donut. So for this, I'm gonna use another plane effect. MoGraph effector, plane effector. Let's kill the position and only use visibility. For the fall off, let's set a box field again. And boom, now you see that we are controlling the appearance of the matrices with this beautiful box field, which is amazing, to be honest. So you want this to appear only on the top. Let's just bring the box field up to the top of the donut. Maybe like this. As you can see, we've got some color information as well, which is nice. We could use that later when we are coloring. But that's another tutorial. This is just the technical part. So we have the box field, but it doesn't look like icing yet. And we can make this look a bit more icy if we put the matrix object inside a volume builder. Okay, so something is happening. We have the little volumes, but it's way too thick. So the first thing to do is go to the matrix, inside the volume builder. Let's go to the matrix and decrease the radius to something like maybe 10. Looks a bit better. Voxel size is way too big. Let's push this down to 2. This is way too blobby, but icing is starting to appear as we like it. Do not forget that this is still procedural, so if I move the box field, I can still control where and how it appears on the donut. So inside the volume builder, let's move that out. We can always change the voxel distance or the voxel size, maybe to 1. And we can smooth it out a bit more. Okay, I like this. So the next thing we're gonna do is the sprinkles. Everybody loves sprinkles. So this is pretty easy. I'm just gonna make a capsule. And put the capsule inside a MoGraph cloner object. Again, it's using a grid, but we don't want to clone it on a grid, we want to clone it on the icing. So this is pretty self-explanatory. Let's just use, instead of the grid, let's just use the object and use the volume builder. Actually, we cannot use the volume builder because it doesn't fit inside the cloner, you'll see. It doesn't fit. So what we have to do is put the builder inside the volume mesher to have a mesh. It's pretty dense. You will realize that even a small amount in the adaptive field will change the density of the mesh quite a bit. You see? So it's not so dense anymore. Okay. So now we can put the mesher inside the cloner. And the sprinkles will only appear there. Let's increase the count of the sprinkles because, you can't have enough of sprinkles, can you? Let's use 2000. Quite a lot. Okay, so this seems pretty nice. What I don't like though is that, we are pouring the sprinkles from the top usually. So it shouldn't be here. But what we can do is we can use the same box mask that we used for the icing with a little bit of tweaking. So inside the cloner, again, let's use a plane effector, kill the position, just use the visibility and use the same box field as what we use for the icing. Okay, but what we can do, we can add another field here or an effect here. It's not going to affect the icing because it's a different plane effector. But what we can do is we can add a curve to it on the box field, and we can use this curve to adjust where we want the icing to appear. This seems pretty cool again. Let's use another effector called random effector to introduce a little bit of randomness. Oh, I said little bit. So let's use a rotation. Maybe 30 degrees is enough. Yeah, I like that. This is random enough. Okay, cool. So one thing I realized that I missed from the beginning, let's just use the shading again, is that let's just kill the matrix for a moment. And even the sprinkles. Is that when we had the plane effector to do the indentation on the surface of the donut, it also appeared on the inside of the donut. And I don't want that. I only want that to be on the outside. So this is an easy fix. We have a box field inside the plane that is controlling the indentation amount. And let's use another field called spherical field. And for the spherical field, let's set to subtract. So this is going to subtract, this is going to null the effect of the box field. And you'll see if I increase the size of my spherical field enough, it will also kill the box field. So it's working. Let's just undo that. And you can see if I switch this on and off, it's only working on the inside, and this is what I want. So let's turn back the matrices again, the cloner, the capsule, everything. And we have our beautiful procedural donut. You can always put the torus inside the subdivision surface if you want. Just reset the matrix. Nice. So since this is a procedural thing, that's why we made this whole thing from the beginning. I can change the torus, maybe the radius. So you want a bigger donut with a bigger hole? Your thing. Let's just change this to 150 and reset the matrix object, and you'll see the magic happening. And done. So this is our procedural donut inside Cinema 4D. I hope you enjoyed this little tutorial. Next time is going to be shading and using field colors to do some color randomness. Thanks for watching.